I'm Bear Grylls. Now, I'm in the alligator-infested swamps of the Everglades. This place is unforgiving. It's late, and you'd need to get out of the water before nightfall. That's when the alligators become more active. It's their main feeding time, so you'd need to set up camp.
I could probably use this pop ash tree here. It's got enough limbs off the branches, and what I can do is, if I find a few more uprights like this, lash one like that, and then another one here, and then lay some branches along it. That will lift me up out of the water. And the other good thing about this pop ash, it's got lots of vine on it, which I can use just as natural cordage to tie it with.
But make sure that the wood is thick enough to take your weight.
And what I want to do here is just do like a simple overhand knot, and then tuck it in again once more on itself, and that just locks it.
This process takes time, so I'll get some help from the crew, but all the raw materials are around me. Construct a base to sleep on. It should be long enough to lie on full stretch, and wide. This is one bed you don't want to roll out of. Ideally, pick straight timbers and remove the offshoots. They'll dig in and make sleeping even harder.
There you go, and I just need a load of these across here, and this will make a good platform. Right, that's almost enough.
Now to pad this bed out a bit.
Hey, look at this stuff. This is all Spanish moss, and even though this looks really nice and soft, and you think we make an ideal mattress, it's actually often full of nasty little chiggers. And chiggers are these tiny little things you can't actually see, but what happens, they bite you, and then 24 hours later, you'll start to scratch, and you're going to keep scratching for days. And I've come across this before in the jungles of Belize, and trust me, it's a mistake you only make once, so I'm going to need another plan for something to use as bedding.
The fronds of the cabbage palm are much better. This palm is the state plant of Florida and has been used for shelter by the local Seminole tribe here for centuries. Once a bed is made, fire is the next priority. It will help keep predators away and also dry your clothes. But to light it, I need to find some tinder. And once again, the cabbage palm is the key.
This stuff is great. It's really dry and stays pretty dry even when it's been raining. And you do have to be a little bit careful rooting around in this stuff, just because loads of nasty creepy crawlies often live in this, from ants to scorpions. And I've even got a friend who found once a coral snake wrapped up in this sort of stuff. So I'm going to stuff this in a pocket. It's about the only place on me that's dry.
Make a base for the fire, or the embers will burn your bed. You should let the mud dry, but you may not have the time. However, these green twigs will create a barrier between the tinder and the wet mud. It would be easy to think that starting a fire in such a wet and humid environment would be impossible. But this shows how a little local knowledge can make all the difference.
I really need to watch out for my feet just in this sort of environment. It's really easy to get trench foot, and you get trench foot if your feet are wet, often more than about 12 hours, and it's a mix of just being cold and moist, and what happens, eventually the skin starts to flake off and it can then become infected. But I really want to make sure I don't get that, because I tell you, out here, if you can't walk, you die.